The Jimmy Clausen story, I think our listeners would like to hear it. When did you begin working with him?
I started working with Jimmy when he was a sophomore in high school at Oaks Christian in L.A. And interesting story about Jimmy, he never lost a football game in his entire high school career. He was state champion 4 years in a row, a phenomenal athlete, great kid, super family. He kind of became like a surrogate son to me. And then he went to Notre Dame and got killed his first year because they didn't have an offensive line, to make a long story short. But his junior year, what people don't realize is that the second game of his junior year, he had suffered a very, very severe injury. And that injury was turf toe, and that's what the diagnosis was. In reality, he had torn 2 ligaments and broken a bone in his foot. Now, most people would not play the rest of the season. We were able to work together to mitigate those circumstances and allow him to have absolutely the best junior year I think anybody at Notre Dame's ever had. Coming out in the draft, we thought he'd be a number 1 pick. And what happened is that in January, we decided to have an MRI after the Notre Dame had an original MRI, and they were not altogether that forthright on telling us what was going on with the MRI. So Jimmy had surgery in January, and one of the leading foot specialists. And the doctor, coming out of surgery, I was with Jimmy, and the doc said, it's going to be about 6 months to 8 months before you're going to be able to put any weight on your foot noticeably. Certainly not going to be able to throw the football. You got the combine 6 weeks away, right? And the biggest day of this kid's life. And you got pro day another 2 weeks after that. And the doc is saying, well, you're not going to be able to go to the combine. You're not going to be able to do your pro day. And he agreed to go do the ARP therapy. The doctor agreed that Jimmy could do the ARP therapy. If the doctor didn't agree, we're still going to do it anyway.
Right.
We had the ESPN crew come in, and we were, day one, his foot looked like a red lobster. I mean, it was just gigantic in size. It was very tight, very sore. Couldn't put his foot down off the bed. Otherwise, he'd have pain shooting up way in excess of 10. And we began working with him. And we worked with him every 3 hours around the clock for 5 days. He was supposed to get his stitches out. And we have this all on video. ESPN's got this whole thing on video. He was supposed to get his stitches out in about 3.5 weeks. After day one, I could put my hand completely underneath the surgical dressing. It was that loose. Day 2, we had the stitches out.
Wow.
Day 5, he was completely out of a boot, completely off of crutches. 3 weeks after that, we were throwing the football. 5 weeks after that, he went to the combine in dress shoes, walked in. The NFL guys did all their tests and all this stuff, and they said, he wasn't going to compete at the NFL Combine. 2 weeks later, we had pro day at Notre Dame. He lit him up, absolutely lit him up, looked fantastic, and all that was done in a period of 6 to 8 weeks instead of 6 months. So what that meant to that young man is that he had the opportunity to do something that he normally would have never been able to do, and he'll sit here and tell you the same thing, had it not been for the ARPWave system.
ARPWave.com, ARPWave.com, ARP, or you can call 952-431-9708. Injury prevention, accelerated recovery, improved performance. It's the first show of this year, so we haven't had a lot of listener response, obviously, yet, but I know from the past, some of the things people would write about, like, because you don't just do elite athletes, you do everyday people. That's why we're here.
Probably 70% of our business is the average individual, the baby boomer who's been told that their knees are bone on bone, their hip is bone on bone, they need spinal fusion, they need neck fusion, they've got carpal tunnel, they've got everything underneath the sun. The bottom line is they do not have a quality of life that they deserve. And that's who our patients are.
I remember from last year, somebody, and I already know the answer to the question because I know it's going to be yes, you can help, but somebody wrote in about, is it TMJ? Is that what it's called? The jaw thing?
Yeah. And we've got a lot of dentists now that we're training because, when a patient comes into a dentist and they have TMJ, the dentist usually has a variety of things that they can do, but they're really not trained in addressing TMJ. And TMJ also has a lot of side effects, headaches, tight shoulders, tight neck muscles, excruciating discomfort when they open their mouth. Understand, TMJ is not the problem again. TMJ is where the problem ended, and all it is the muscles in the jaw are protecting the jaw. And so what we do is send a new muscle message that says, don't protect, and it relaxes. So it's not uncommon to have a TMJ patient who can put one finger in their mouth and 3 minutes later put 4 or 5 in their mouth with no pain, simply because you were working on the origin of the problem. So a dentist is going to give you a splint, or they're going to do surgery. All of that is addressing the symptom of the problem. The origin of the problem is neurological. The muscles are getting a neurological signal to protect, henceforth the inflammation, henceforth the pain.
You have something now that you call the Worldwide Doctor Network, and
yes.
I don't think you had that before. Explain that and what it is and how the network works.
What we're doing is, because we're a Class 2 medical device and because a prescription is required, so many times we would have a joint replacement patient who had to get a prescription from their doctor. Well, you're the doctor. You're making $30,000 on the surgery. Are you going to give a prescription to somebody to prevent you from doing that?
Probably not.
Probably not. So what we had to do is we had to get this conclave of doctors throughout the United States and offer them the opportunity to be able to treat their patients in a different way other than just physical therapy. So we put a piece of equipment in the doctor's office at no cost. We give the doctor patients at no cost. And we offer every single one of the doctor's patients the opportunity to have a free evaluation and treatment over a webcam in the doctor's office to see if we can help them. And we're able to help probably 60 to 70% of those patients.
Minute or two to go. I know that you can't prevent every surgery, but you have a post-surgery program. Is that
Yes,
correct?
We do.
And how does that work?
Again, the whole process is to speed up the blood supply. If you've been told that let's say you absolutely have to have surgery, you have a torn ACL, it's completely torn off the bone, you got to have surgery. You got to put it back in, okay? The normal recovery time for that is 6 to 9 months. Our normal recovery time is 5.5 weeks.
Let's talk about the specials again that you're offering at the clinic right now for the people that are listening right now. What do you have going on?
Anybody who's suffering from any type of pain, or if you have children who are competing in any type of athletic event and want to make sure that they are protected from injury, come into our clinic. We're right in Burnsville on 451 Cliff Road. Come into the clinic at no cost. We'll evaluate that athlete, and we'll tell you if they're at risk for injury, and you'll see right away. The test, they'll either pass or fail. If you're in pain, you're in the Twin Cities, come in and see us. If you're out of the Twin Cities, simply go into our website, fill out a simple medical questionnaire. We'll send everything out directly to you and treat you in your home free at no cost for the very first time.
That website is arpwave.com, A-R-P-P as in Paul, arpwave.com, or you can call 952-431-9708. People could email their questions, because we'll do that again last year.
Yes.
That was pretty popular, where people would email us questions coming off like this week's show for next week or in following weeks, where people will ask questions, say, I have this problem, Dennis, what can I do about it? And we'll do that again. Should we have them email them? I guess they could email them to me.
They can email them to you, or they can email them to directly to the website. Just go into arpwave.com, go into ask a question. They ask the question, and we'll answer it.
And or else you can, as Dennis said, you can just comment at KFAN.com as well. So that's ARPwave.com, arpwave.com, or you can call 952-431-9708. The first episode in the second year of House of Pain's in the books. Good to see you again, Dennis. Thanks again.
Good seeing you, man.
And we'll talk to you next week. Okay. Again, that's the ARPWave system. The website again is arpwave.com, ARPwave.com, or call 952-431-9708, 952-431-9708. That'll take care of it for this week. Tell your friends and your neighbors. We'll be back next week on House of Pain, Sunday morning at 7:30, right here on AM 1130 KFAN.
For more on ARPWave technology, visit arpwave.com. That's ARPwave.com.